And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
I am very excited right now because I am reviewing the first expansion for Mage Wars. This is the Forcemaster versus the Warlord. Now, I really fell in love with Mage Wars last year. Mage Wars was my favorite game from 2012. I've been playing many games since I've made my list of 2012, and none of them still has really come close to topping Mage Wars. I really enjoyed it. As I said in my initial review, it has a lot of aspects of Magic the Gathering, of Summoner Wars. It has just some really cool aspects. The original game came with 4 different mages that would fight each other, but I knew that there were many more down the line that were coming. So the first 2 are here, and we have the Forcemaster versus the Warlord. So when I'm going to show you, I'm not going to show you every card from this expansion, although there's quite a few cards that come in here, 216 cards that come in this game. I'm going to show you some of them, and I want to give you a little bit of feel of how both of these mages play against, well, one another and against the other mages. Let's look. First thing we notice is that we have 2 more spell books that come in the set, and that's good because I don't like taking the cards out of the spell books. And I must mention that the initial spell books that they recommend, the ones that I totally ignore and never use, are all packaged in the game, so you can just pull them out, throw them in your spell book, and get started. You don't have to sort them out and look for them. They're together, and that's a nice packaging detail. The game also comes with several tokens that are used specifically for this set, or more tokens of different types that you might need, depending if you put the spells in the set. All right, let's talk about the Forcemaster first. Now, the Forcemaster is essentially somebody who is, the best way to describe her is a Jedi, or maybe Invisible Woman from Marvel Comics. She uses the Mind School of Magic. That's the only school that she's really good with, and in fact, non-mind creature spells cost triple. She is not someone who's all about creatures. She has a deflect token that she can use constantly. Once it costs 1 mana every round to use it, but there's a chance that she can dodge an attack just automatically, and she has a free spell called Force Pool. Now, as we look at her different cards, she has some really neat equipment, which is basically all about cutting down the cost of her spells and the upkeep. Mind spells have a lot of upkeep to use, usually, so this Psi Orb cuts down on the upkeep. Here's another chance to have defense. She can become one of the most defensive mages in the game. She also has the best weapon of any of the mages, I think. This Force Blade, which not only is it sweeping or double strike, you know, on a full attack, very useful, and I mean it's piercing +2 on a regular attack, but it's also a cantrip, which means if it's destroyed, it goes back into her spell book rather than being destroyed, so she can just summon it again. Very handy weapon. It's nice because it shows the fact that it's essentially not a real weapon. It's like a weapon made out of force or whatever. So very cool. And if you don't put this card in your deck, there's something wrong with you. She also has this weapon here, which actually can be put into her area, but she doesn't need to carry it. So this sword like moves around, and it costs upkeep, but basically she can use it as defense, or it can make an attack. It goes by itself. It's a dancing sword. It's a neat idea, this autonomous thing. I hope to see more of those in the future. And then she has a very few creatures. Here we have the Thought Spore. Now this is probably her most useful creature because it's a familiar and it can cast spells, and you can attach attack or incantation spells to it. It's weak, easy to kill, but still having these extra spells moving around. Then she has this Psylocke here, which is just kind of a pesky little flying thing that shoots people with unavoidable critical damage. And then she does have 1 monster beast type in her deck, the Invisible Stalker. This guy is invisible, and it's important enough that he actually comes with his own token to show when he's visible or invisible, and he'll flip back and forth, because as long as he's invisible, nobody can touch him. And he only becomes visible when he makes an attack. So if you time it right, he can come out, boom, hit somebody, and then disappear again. He's not super strong, but still, I mean, this guy will become one of the biggest pain in the necks for opponents during the course of the game. Then her whole thing is not about creatures, but about using different things. She has repulse, where she can push people away, steal their equipment that they're using, force bash, force wave, mass sleep. You know, she has all these things. Again, I can't help but think of the Jedi when she uses these. She can add force swords to people, force crush, charm someone, or the very powerful force field, the very powerful mind control. It's very expensive. You have to pay upkeep to keep these creatures each round. But seriously, your opponent comes in with a powerful creature and you take them over and turn that creature on themselves. This is a big deal and possibly my favorite spell that she has. And then she has some, you know, straight up attack, invisible fists, or the wonderfully themed Force Hammer, which can smash people, which is, or slam people, which is essentially a little bit stronger than stunning them, because a slam token then turns into daze, and so it can slow someone down quite a bit. So these are some of the cards that she has. The Warlord, on the other hand, is all about creatures, really. He's not a weak character. He's strong. He has +1 to melee, and he's also 2 different types. He's trained in the War and Earth School, but arcane spells cost him triple, so he's just straight up about attacking. His special ability is, 1, he has battle orders. Anyone in the same region as him, he can give them all basically +1 melee and armor when they guard, +1 range, +1 charge, but also when his soldier units kill somebody, they become a veteran, which gives them a +1/+1, which is a pretty big deal. And there's lots of these tokens included in the game. He has a neat Warhammer that he can use to smash people, a Helm of Command, which can put some command spells. You can bind them to that, like a wand. He has the Horn of Gothos, you know, and he can use his command spell where he gives everyone +1s to the whole arena. You know, and then he has the Ring of Command, but he also has a lot of equipment type things. These caltrops, Magor caltrops, or the Wall of Pikes, which is just a neat thing. But what I really like are his garrison posts. When you put these garrison posts out, they will eventually you can produce and spawn creatures at these spots on the board. And if you get enough of them out and you put a barracks, that barracks will produce based on the number of garrison posts. So if you play the Warlord correctly, you can have people popping out all over the board. He also has this Akiro's hammer here, the war machine. Oh, I love war machines. This game needs more of them. Just really neat that you can use this to launch missiles. Then he has tons of creatures. Goblin grunts, cheap little guys thrown aboard. Goblin slingers, cheap ranged guys. Goblin bombers, the little guy who runs up and explodes. Hilarious, fun, useful, but also dangerous, because every time someone kills them, there's a chance they explode. And if you summon it and you're not thinking, and then your opponent shoots it with a well-timed arrow or something, yeah, that can be annoying. Then you get stronger creatures like the Orc Butcher. The Goblin Builder can help repair his buildings or build them. He has dwarves. Now, this is a little odd for me to have dwarves and orcs in the same army, but they are some pretty powerful sniper orcs. Then he has the Iron Golem. Now, the Iron Golem is important for a couple reasons. One, it's a really powerful creature, but also it's a Forcemaster's worst enemy because it's psychic immunity and it's unmovable. So all her spells basically go after it. Now, it's slow, so she will run from it like a crazy person. And with its 5 armor, though, it's going to come after her slowly but surely. But even without her, it's still just a useful creature to go up against any mage. But then there's these Earth Elementals. Oh! Okay, they're just really cool. I really like the Earth spells a lot, and I'm glad I would like the Warlord if he was just Earth spells. And then some other really powerful creatures, including Thork, the Chief Bodyguard, who can basically, he has a special taunt token just for him. And so you put him in the same space as your Warlord, and you have to kill him basically first before you can take out the Warlord. Then he has some orders, power strikes, and perfect strikes, and sniper shots. And then the Earthquake, which is a neat spell to play on people. He can make someone a standard bearer, which makes everyone a +1 attack and +1 armor in the same zone. Turn people into stone. And then just some stone attacks, a hail of stones. And then, I mean, come on. Who doesn't like to hurl a boulder at somebody else? So that's that. You can obviously tell that I like this. I mean, I would have liked it pretty much probably whatever mages they came in. For my personal play styles, the Forcemaster is a harder one for me to use. Not because I think that she's bad. In fact, she's really powerful and useful. It's just that she's all about force spells and using weapons, and it's all about her. You know, essentially, she has a few creatures, but to add there's not many mind creatures in the game. And to add other creatures to her deck is a very difficult process because they're so expensive, and, you know, is that worth it? However, like I said, pretty neat, and that Invisible Stalker is a great pet almost, you know, that she has running around. The Warlord, on the other hand, I love, and is probably my favorite mage so far because his style of just bringing out tons of troops is exactly what I like to do. You know, him and the Beastmaster, when they go up against each other, there's just creatures everywhere all over the board, and it's a very different battle. Now, if you just want to play these two against each other, they work really well, but they also work well, and it's neat now that we have 6 different mages. There's 15 different battles that can be fought. Well, I guess 18 if you include well, I don't know what all the probabilities are. It's 15 without them fighting themselves. I guess that would make 21 if they can each fight themselves. But anyway, there's a lot of different matchups, and there's more cards that also come in here. I didn't show you all of them, but there's some cards in here that come and help the different people. There's another angel that helps out the light side. There's a new shrine for the woodlands. There's some new monster stuff. I mean, there's some new cards, and some of these mind cards, earth cards, and such can be used for the other mages. In fact, if you remember the wizard, he can be stone if he wants, and that's an interesting idea to take him in that direction and run with that. So, like I said, there's a lot of cool stuff in here. It's a neat addition. 2 new spell books, 2 new mages, lots of fun. I mean, if you like Mage Wars, you were already going to get this anyway, so this was just kind of just to get you salivating. Go get it now.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find the latest board game news at Dicetowernews.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Fun Again Games, the world's best game source. Fun Again Games has over 5,000 games available. Check them out at funagain.com.
Shut the door!